Okay, these 2 pages I'm going to spend just a little bit more time on because we hadn't really talked about this very much. So one of the most painful lessons of the Depression was that the American economy was at the mercy of uncontrollable forces that no one seemed to understand. In the late 1930s, Americans learned another difficult lesson. Although they could now turn to the government for help in hard times, not even the billions of dollars spent on the New Deal programs could bring an end to unemployment and poverty. Roosevelt's New Deal had been a remarkable success, but it was not a complete one. President Roosevelt changed the approach to the country's problems in his 1936 re-election campaign. So now he's finished his first 4 years, and he's going to go into his second 4 years. So in 1935, which is a year before he's going to go through the election, he asked Congress for broad legislation aimed at both work relief and reform. This became known as the Second New Deal and represented some of the most important acts of the New Deal years, including the Social Security Act, the creation of the National Labor Relations Board, establishment of Works Progress Administration. You don't have to know all those things, but new things in kind of a second run. Okay, so this is sort of his second New Deal run here. And one of those things that's still in operation right now is the Social Security Board, or, So, and Social Security was a way toward creating a welfare state which assured the basic welfare of every man, woman, and child. The act provided monthly retirement pensions for the elderly, unemployment insurances for the jobless, and assistance for the dependent and the disabled. And so this is some of the other things he did down here. And then this talks here about African Americans, and the New Deal policies really did not help them very much. The president was cautious. He didn't want to alienate Southern whites. He would not, for example, support anti-lynching legislation, which is where you could just hang a black person. But his administration was open to black leaders such as Mary McLeod Bethune, and she was the director of Negro Affairs for the National Youth Administration, a consultant of the U.S. Secretary of the War, and a consultant for the United Nations Charter Conference. She founded the National Council of Negro Women and served as the vice president of the NAACP. And then another gal singer, Marian Anderson, was barred from giving a recital in a private hall in 1939 because she was black. Eleanor Roosevelt helped arrange a concert on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial with her. And in a historic movement, Anderson was the first African American to perform at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York City. And then it says here too that in general, blacks supported FDR in the New Deal because he was trying to help the poor and the unemployed. Most blacks had voted Republican in honor of Abraham Lincoln, who played a key role in ending slavery. But the Republican Party did not offer much to blacks at that time. And although Roosevelt won re-election by a landslide, his popularity and authority eroded during his second term for 3 main reasons. So in his second re-election, he started failing for 3 main reasons. And he tried to add more justices to the Supreme Court, and this is called court packing, and it was deemed unconstitutional. Many Americans were worried by the government expanding its power, so that was another thing that was going on. And the economy was weakened even more when a growing number of voters declared that the New Deal measures wouldn't make a difference. And so that was another sort of moment that things got a little tough. And that is page 170 and 171.